Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Shamsul Islam. Welcome you all to enjoy our regular show, Sports Talk with Shamsul Islam. And this is a great privilege for me to introduce with you some gentlemen here in the screen. You are watching right on top of the right corner, Mr. Shamim Ashraf Chowdhury, the international cricket commentator from Bangladesh. Hello, sir. How are you? Welcome.
Fine, thank you. Fine, thank you very much. Really looking forward to this chat with our other friends.
Okay. In the bottom of the screen, in the left side, we have Dr. Ravi Chaturvedi. He is the Padma Shri awardee from India, also known as the pioneer of Hindi commentary in India, one of the senior most citizen in this commentary family. Hello, sir. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Namaskar, and my greetings to all my friends in Bangladesh. And it's a great privilege for me to join you on this broadcast. First of all, I'd like to express my condolences to the families of the people who lost their lives in the recent boat tragedy. And also, I'd like to share with you, pay my own humble tributes to the father of nation of Bangladesh, the great statesman of this subcontinent, Rahman, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, whose birth centenary I was supposed to come to Bangladesh and share some few precious moments with you. Unfortunately, the corona played a dirty trick on all of us and did not allow us to meet. Anyway, let's hope that you celebrate the centenary of the great statesman with all fervor that he deserves.
Absolutely. We are looking forward to this show to talk about him also a little bit in a particular moment. Anyway, in the bottom of the screen, in the right corner, we have a very friendly, senior most living legend, Alfazuddin Ahmed, the commentator of Bangla from Bangladesh. How are you, sir? Most welcome.
Shamsul, thank you very much for arranging this kind of a show. And it's a great privilege to have a person of the stature of Dr. Ravi Shastri along with us. Ravi Chaturvedi, I would say. Ravi Chaturvedi is a living legend. He's the pioneer of Hindi commentary in India, and he has been decorated with Padma Bhushan by the Indian government. So it's a great privilege. I would like to also introduce Mr. Chaturvedi to our viewers of Bangladesh, because for the Bangladeshi viewers and listeners also, I think it's a great honor and privilege. Welcome, Mr. Chaturvedi, to Bangladesh listeners, Bangladesh viewers.
Thank you so much. And so I don't think what all you said is correct. I'm a very simple human being who was also in teaching. I taught zoology. I'm a very peculiar man. I'm an ordinary man, very peculiar. Does all odd things, teach zoology, do cricket commentary, do commentaries in Hindi, write in English, and things. All odd things I've done in my life.
Okay, sir. We're looking forward. Dear audience, good afternoon. To join with us, already few of them is knocking through their comments and emotions. So we are eagerly waiting. They will join in the later few minutes in numbers, and we will have a nice discussion in between these three gentlemen. I'm Shamsul Islam hosting this show, and our today's topic, art of cricket commentary in different languages. I would like to request the most senior citizen from India and the senior commentator who is the pioneer of Hindi commentary in India, Dr. Ravi Chaturvedi, also a professor of zoology for 40 years, and he has been written 27 books, mostly on cricket and sports and few other professional books also. And he has been completed his PhD on cricket, physical education. Vastly experienced guys. Know more about him. He will speak towards us. Sir, please say your introductory spell regarding today's topic, art of cricket commentary in different languages. Especially, you will touch the history of starting Hindi commentary in subcontinent.
Well, I think it's not that. I mean, when we say that art of cricket commentary, it sounds little. It seems as if something is very complicated. It's not that complicated. It's a sort of. It's an art of storytelling. I mean, whatever happens on the ground, we just through by our own observations try to paint a picture of the happenings on the ground and convey it to our audience, to our listeners. And in the sense, there's one thing that we have to I keep in mind was that I should be like a guest in the drawing room of my listeners who are listening to me. There are three basic things that one I thought I should subscribe to two. And when I was thinking of how I should start the Hindi cricket commentary, I was lucky that since my childhood, I was listening to John Allett, I was listening to ABC, that is Alan McElberry. You won't remember those days. There used to be a big radio set. And to get BBC and ABC, sometimes you have to hold the knob. Otherwise, the station will go off. And since I was listening to them and I was a club and college level cricketer, so I knew what is to be what should be the component of the commentary. That was very important. And therefore, and since my exposure to cricket on ground was also there, so this helped me a lot. And actually, if I tell you the truth, I was actually auditioned for English commentary. But that was the time in 1960 when the government of India decided to cover all the international matches in Hindi. And they had a problem of finding a cricket commentator who was also a player. So they offered me, and I can be very frank with you. Initially, I was not very happy about it because I wanted to do a commentary in English. But their stalwarts were there. Pearson Surita was there. Beni Sarvadhikari was there. Maharaj Kumara Visyanagaram were there. And they told me for 10 years, you don't have a chance. So that's how I came into it. There are three things which I want to share with all of you, my worthy colleagues. I always remembered what Aristotle said. And he said, this was about that, what he said was that speaking has three components. And these components, one is ethos, that is the credibility of the speaker. The second is the pathos, that is the emotions of the audience. And third is the pathos, that logos, that is the reasoning of your argument. So these three components make a big picture of a commentator. And I'm a teacher, and Aristotle was a great teacher. So I followed that. And I thought that whatever we speak, let there be a friendly conversation between the commentator and also the audience. I should not force my way into their drawing rooms. I should be accepted as a guest there, rather than barging and raging, rather than getting as an intruder into the drawing rooms of the audience or the listeners.
Thank you so much, sir, for this introductory spell of your speech regarding Hindi commentary and what is actually the commentary you try to describe towards our listeners. Already they have joined in a number. I want to read some of their comments as well. Jamilur, Rahman, our fellow commentators, joined. Great initiative. Congratulations to all watching your different types of programs. Nob Rafiqul Islam, Shamim Ashraf Chowdhury, ঢাকা দোহারের কৃতি সন্তান, আমার বাড়ি নবাবগঞ্জ, মালয়েশিয়া থেকে শুনছি. He is praising regarding Shamim Ashraf Chowdhury in Bangla also. Nob Rafiqul Islam, Masum Ahmed, the man from Biyanibazar Silet, he conveys salam and respect to all of us. Kandakar Rashid, he is speaking about, it is a great program. 4 legends are together, not me. These 3 are gentlemen and senior most citizens, and they are living legend indeed. Kamran Hussain and Mujahidul Rahman, we gather a lot of knowledge through this type of discussions programs. Thanks to all. Rabiul Islam Rabi, very good state. Muhammad Ali Manik from Atlanta, good morning from Atlanta, USA. Ashikur Rahman, Pio Mukhgulo, the favorite faces. Rabiul Islam Rabi once again, some excellent people. Ashraful Farhad is watching right now. Farhad Tito from Canada, Montreal. Nice to see you there. Shamim Bhai, thank you. Shamsul for this wonderful arrangement. Ismail Hussain Milan from Shakira. I think that it is one of the greatest episodes this year. I salute for 4 legendary commentator. Anyway, Mr. Shamim Ashraf Chowdhury, I'm giving you the floor to speak regarding the today's topic on introductory space, art of commentary.
Right. Absolutely agree with the great Dr. Ravi Chaturvedi. I mean, if you call it an art, I think it takes it to a different kind of level. I think you have to be knowledgeable of the game. You have to know the rules of the game. You have to have a decent voice, which is acceptable, which, like Dr. Chaturvedi is saying, is acceptable in the rooms or in the drawing rooms or wherever the listener is at. This not just the drawing room, the radio can reach out, as I've said before, to people who don't have access to television. And in the old days, there was no television coverage anyway. So the radio was the only way you could be present at the ground through the voice of the commentator. So you're basically the eye of the listener. You're describing the play, the surroundings, the atmosphere, and the attitudes of the people, and you're drawing a picture in their minds who are listening to you. So that is the art. How you do it, some people succeed, some people don't. Some people succeed because they have the knowledge and they have the combination of words to make it sound good, to make it sound exciting, to make it sound acceptable, and also give a clear picture of what is going on. So those of the commentators who have been able to reach that kind of an audience and be acceptable, I think that is where the art or the credit or the success of a commentator is just reaching you. You're the eye and you're giving a good description. You're making the game attractive. You're keeping them listening in. They don't want to move away. As Dr. Chaturvedi was saying, in the old days, when you're tuning into the commentary in England to John Arlott and others, and also to Australia, especially, I remember Chaturvedi, that when I was young, I used to get up 4 o'clock in the morning and listen to commentary in the West Indies. And I used to get scolded by my mother, saying that, why are you up so late at night listening to commentary? But that is the attraction, commentary from a match, possibly Australia versus West Indies or England versus West Indies. That would grab your attention. You'd wake up early in the morning to listen to that kind of commentary. And that is what it's all about. If you can make yourself acceptable to the listener, I think that's the biggest achievement for a commentator.
Well said, sir. We have some clear idea regarding the art of commentary from both of the gentlemen, Dr. Ravi Chaturvedi as well as Mr. Shamim Ashraf Chowdhury, who is popularly known as the voice of Bangladesh in the international cricketing arena. However, now I am requesting Mr. Alfazuddin Ahmed, one of the senior most commentators here in Bangla, from Bangladesh, tell us about the history in brief regarding Bangla commentary in this subcontinent, as well as how do you feel, what is actually the art of commentary, especially in a cricket match?
Well, thank you very much, Shamsul. As you all know, that Bangla commentary started from Kolkata. In 1957, the first commentary of a cricket match was done by Mr. Ajoy Bose, along with Pushpen Sarkar, Kamal Bhattacharya, and also Premanshu Chatterjee. So that team, they did a wonderful job, and they attracted the listeners from this part of Bangla also. I mean, these in East Pakistan also. And we were all glued to the radio during that time, I would say, because at that time, there was no commentary in Bangla from Radio Pakistan or Radio East Pakistan. So that really created a huge attraction in the mind of the players, seniors, everybody. So the senior people of that time, they started to think, why not replicate and do similar kind of thing from Radio Pakistan, East Pakistan. And in 1963, our legend, Mr. Abdul Hamid, he started it by summarizing, doing a summary of cricket match after each hour's play. After each hour, he was reading a resume, and that's how it started in 1963. But the first commentary of a football match was broadcasted in 1967 from the then East Pakistan Radio. But after that, it didn't grow too much. We had the Liberation War in 1971, and then after that, when games came back to the ground and everything started to be normal, and Bangladesh radio started to cover football matches, more of football matches from the ground, and the leading commentators were at that time Mr. Abdul Hamid, and along with him Badrul Huda Chowdhury, Mr. Tawfiq Aziz Khan, Muhammad Shah Jahan, and after liberation, Mr. Manjur Hassan Bintu, Khudabaksh Reza, Muhammad Musa, Ataul Haq Malik, Noor Ahmed. They all joined this job of doing commentary. But commentary during that time was mainly for football matches. There were very little frequency of cricket matches because Bangladesh had no international cricket status. So there were some teams used to visit at the request of the Bangladesh Cricket Board. Maybe from England a team came, MCC came, or Hyderabad Deccan Blues, they came. And then we had some commentary of cricket matches during that time. And this thing continued during the 80s also. The main commentary was covering football matches of the domestic football leagues. And we had very big matches played between Dhaka, Mount Sporting Club, Ahmad Brothers Union, and those kind of big teams. But commentary by then got very popular in this part of the country. And after that, when we entered in the 90s, our cricketing level, our cricketing standard was, growing up. It was raising. In 1997, we won the World Cup qualifying match played in Malaysia. Shamim Ashraf was there from the Kilas Club ground. We had the Bangla commentary of this match. Shamim was also there, and we beat Kenya, and then we got the ODI status, and then in year 2000 we got also the test status. And since then, Bangladesh cricket has come up, I would say, very rapidly and very unexpectedly to a very good level. And by now, cricket has become very popular, and the popularity of football has sunk down. As a commentator, I would like to tell you one thing, that as Dr. Ravi said, we started with radio commentary, as Shamim said. Radio commentary, I think still, I will go to Dr. Ravi with this question. What is your opinion about radio commentary versus TV commentary? Which one is more popular, and what are the difference between doing these two type of commentary? I would like to have this comments from Dr. Ravi. But as I was telling, that from my point of view, or our point of view, the notion was to make Bangla commentary easily understandable to the poorest people living in the villages. So we tried to speak as lucid, as simple Bengali sentences as possible. And I thought that was very important. And that's how we educated the people living in the villages with these rules and regulations of cricket, rules and regulations of football. And then they become interested, as a commentator, when you speak, you must try to keep your listener attracted to you. If the listeners tune off the radio and go away from you, you are a failure commentator. So that was very important. So we kept that thing in our mind, and that's how I think it's very important to make the sentences correctly, to choose the words rightly, and you have to do all these things, in a fraction of seconds, and continuously do it in the radio at least. For TV, you have some spaces, but for radio, you have to do it very continuously. So it was not a very easy job. It was a difficult job. But by now, as you know, a lot of commentators have come in, and everybody has learned, and we are getting a lot of tips, and there are a lot of assistance also available, and this has become a regular thing now. I think I'll ask Mr. Ravi to comment on the this matter. I mean, difference between radio commentary and TV commentary and the popularity.
Alfaz,
Still,
I will
commentary
ask him.
is popular.
I got your point. I will ask him with some few more clues to learn from Dr. Ravi Chaturvedi Sirji. Sir, now I'm requesting you to tell about what our Alfazuddin Ahmed sir requesting you to describe the difference in between radio and television commentary. But I want to add more few things. Since you have started too early in 60s with the radio commentary with AIR, what was the challenges in that early period? Since we have internet, we have statistician, giant screen, and a lot more available facilities around us today, but it was not with your time. So what was the challenges in your early days, and of course the difference between radio and TV commentary, please?
That's a very relevant question. The biggest challenge that the language cricket commentaries faced all over, I mean, whether it was India, whether it was Bangladesh, whether it was Pakistan, or Sri Lanka for that purpose, the first and the foremost challenge was the use of proper phraseology and terminology, because cricket is a very technical game, and therefore using that phraseology or translating that phraseology was very important, and it was very necessary that an apt phraseology must be used to convey the cricket to the masses. Now, my background being zoology, that helped me a little bit, I will say, because all scientific research papers, in whichever language is there, the technicalities, the technical words remain the same. It's only the description is taken over by the language. So this was the principle that I followed as a Hindi commentator. The other thing was, which my friend Alfaz has very rightly said, the biggest challenge was to provide credibility and acceptability. The biggest challenge was whether the Hindi commentary would be mocked at, because English has enjoyed such a patronage by the authorities and by the listeners also. Therefore, for all the language commentators in this part of the world, the biggest challenge was the acceptability and the credibility of the commentary. And therefore, the package that was going through the language commentary, the component of those that language commentary must be comprehensive. There should be nothing which was part of the English commentary. I tried my best that whatever was part of the English commentary must also be in the Hindi commentary. That's important. Number two, there's a very big role that the language commentaries have played in this subcontinent. My friend Alfaz has very rightly said, you as a banker have said, my friend, the English commentator from Bangladesh, he also said it. The biggest role that the language commentary had, that it reached the masses. The people who were not conversant with the game, and therefore it helped them to understand the nuances of the game. And today, if cricket is a popular component of enjoyment in this part of the subcontinent, the credit goes entirely to the language commentaries. The language commentaries have played a very important role. They have not only taken the game to the masses, to the far-fetched corners of our countries, also to in Hindi, as I can say, it goes to the Khet, Khalian, and Mazdoor. That is, has gone to the fields where the farmer tills the soil. It has gone to the factories where the worker is working. And another very important thing, in India, and I suppose it will be in other parts, maybe in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka also, because of the language commentary and the popularity that the language commentary got, was that a new set of cricketers came from these areas. Imagine Mahendra Singh Dhoni coming from Ranchi. It's a very small place in Bihar. And he came on an international stage and became India's captain. This was a very big contribution of the language commentaries by popularizing, taking the game to the far and farthest corners of the subcontinent. That was a big challenge. The other thing is, we always pick up something from there. When Hindi commentary started, this is why my friend in Pakistan, Munir Hussain, told me, he's no more, my condolences to the family and my tribute to him. He very openly told me that, look here, when you started and we started listening to you, we also got a confidence that he could also do a language commentary. Now, the important part was that this was a sort of a revolution in cricket commentary. The language commentary is a big revolution because the language commentary has gone all over the subcontinent. And you may do a Bangla commentary, I will also understand a part of it. So if you do a Urdu commentary, of course, I can follow it very well. Sinhala commentary, I can also follow. So this language commentary has played a very important role as far as taking the game to the masses. And number two, this has also, in a way, contributed to the cricket being played in the farthest corners of the subcontinent, and from there, the players emerging which are representing their nation. Finally, the question of Alfaz Bhai. The difference between radio and TV. You create a picture through your words. This picture, this is a very difficult task. Doing a radio commentary is much more challenging. It is much more difficult than doing a TV commentary. Because through your words, you have to create a picture in the mind of the listener. Whether radio on TV, the audience is watching everything, the action. All that you have to add is what is not. Can you add something to the picture? That is the only thing that we do. So therefore, the biggest challenge even today, despite the development of technology and everything, is the biggest challenge the radio commentary. Last thing I would like to add. Now, when we started with the commentary, there were many other challenges. Say, for example, there was nothing like this. Today, everything is available to a commentator in the commentator box. My friend Shamim will bear me out. Those days, I had to go to the captain. And I evolved a terminology. Captain won't have time to tell you the names of 11 players and who's the 12th man. So I will write down the 15 names and I ask him, who are dropped? So put a cross. Then he asked him, what are you doing? Are you batting or bowling? Now, imagine these were also challenges.
Yeah.
Going to a ground where their umpires are there and so many groundsmen are there, so they're and sometimes captain may not be in good mood also to talk to you. So those problems we faced initially, and thank God. I mean, the people wanted a commentary in their languages, which was close to their heart, and therefore, if today we enjoy some sort of a success or some sort of recognition, we are grateful to the great languages, our mother tongues. It is because of our mother tongues that today we are known to the country where we were born.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ravi Chaturvedi Sarji. And you have mentioned the importance of regional language commentary, especially in cricket, to popularize it towards the mass people. Alfaz Bhai, I'm requesting you to leave the studio and again try to come in, since we have a little bit of voice noise from there. Please leave it and again insert yourself. Shamim Bhai, I'm knocking to you, looking forward to listen to you. Cricket is itself an unique language over the years in the cricketing world, even to the audiences, because most of the cricketing terminology derived from English and very popular in the English as well, like wicket, stump, ball, bat, everything. So, as an English commentator, you are doing for so many years and representing Bangladesh in the world circuit. How do you feel to be representing Bangladesh in the international cricketing circuit, and how you enjoy the English commentary over the years?
Oh, it's a great honor. I mean, representing the country internationally, that is something that you can think about, dream about, but once you reach there, you feel so very glad and so very thankful, so very honored to represent your country. It's very difficult to put into words. I think I just say with all humility that this is an honor that most people do not get, and having got it, I'm deeply indebted to all the people who like my commentary, who have helped me out over the years and have helped me to reach this position. And I sincerely hope that I'm able to just to maintain that expectation that people have of me representing in the international arena. It is difficult in many ways because you're having to interact with, mostly these days, as my friend Alfaz and Dr. Chaturvedi will know, you're having to face and talk and interact and have a banter with commentators who are former players. Mostly these days, the days of commentators in television commentary is very, very limited, almost distant art, if I can call it that. Hardly anybody around. I'm very grateful and thankful that I'm still around to do that. So that is one area. But I'll just make a point about what both of our honored guests were talking about, is about radio commentary. In one of my previous programs in your show, Shamsul, I remember I mentioned the fact that radio commentary is much more difficult than television commentary. It's difficult because, as I mentioned a short while earlier, you're having to paint a picture and you're the listener's eyes. And as mentioned by Dr. Chaturvedi, it was in the early days, it was so very difficult in gathering all the information, because you have to do a lot of homework to prepare yourself for the eventualities. You're easy to describe something on the ground, but it can get a little boring. You want to bring in little inputs. You want to give a little bit of a trivia. You want to give some background of some player. You want to talk about some idiosyncrasies of players. You want to talk about some hobbies of players. You know, you can all bring all these things as chutneys into the meal, add flavor to commentary. So to do that, you had to work hard, definitely. But I'm not saying that. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not saying that even television commentary is that easy. This is more analytical. You know, television has basically two commentators, or even three these days. One is describing what is going on initially, and the other on a replay. They're just giving the analysis of what could have been done, what should have been done, and you're having all the support of a lot of replays, a lot of technical assistance from your scorer, your statisticians, your EBS personnel, your slow-mo cameras. So you've got a lot of support. The trick is you've got to have the technical know-how and the ability to encompass all these things, because you're offered a lot of different things. You're listening to your fellow commentator, you're listening to his opinions, you're describing play, you're listening to your director in your ear, what he's instructing. You've got to talk about what is on the screen. You've got to listen to your producer who is sitting in the back. So you've got to have 4 eyes and 4 ears to be a television commentator and make it look simple. So it's quite a difficult job too. But there are distinct sort of guidelines and things that you do as a television commentator and a radio commentator. So another point, just quickly, Shamsul, if you allow me, is just going back to the popularity of regional-based language commentary. I mean, Chaturvedi, of course, they're absolutely right that because of the initiation of Bangla, Hindi, Urdu, Sinhalese commentary, the game has become popular. It has gone and reached the masses. There's no question about that. Just an example of me going in 1997 to the ICC trophy as an English commentator, because in those days, Dr. Chaturvedi will agree with me, in those days when All India Radio, Radio Pakistan, Bangladesh, Betar, they sent a commentator in English, a commentator in the local language. So we would alternate. But as we progressed into the quarterfinals of the ICC trophy, as Bangladesh got nearer and nearer to qualifying for the 1999 World Cup, I was requested from home by the authorities and by my friends, by a lot of people, there's no television coverage there, to start commentating in Bangla, which I tell you, I never tried before. So it was quite a difficult job for me to make the transition from cricket commentary in English to Bangla. But what helped me is the point you just made, because there are a lot of words that you can describe in English while doing Bangla commentary. All the positions, all the shots, all the types of bowling. These are not translated into the local language. So I just sort of managed. And by the semi-final, I was a full-fledged Bangla commentator for a while, for about 2 or 3 years. And then once I started back on television, I became an English commentator.
Thank you. We have learned your career path started with Bangladesh Bangladesh radio. Later you involved with television commentary and flourished and representing Bangladesh in the world cricketing circuit with a decent reputation still today. We hope it will continue in the coming days as well. Mr. Alfazuddin Ahmed,
Thank you.
your voice is making some echo as far I'm guessing. Anyway, still we want to talk with you. You have already listened both the gentlemen regarding TV and radio commentary, that difference and the importance of regional language commentary. Now you tell us regarding the challenges in the early days to being a commentator, both in radio and television, especially in cricket matches, and how you enjoy these days, since you have covered few more World Cup from outside and international matches in home. How you enjoy this job?
Thank you, Shamsul. Actually, maybe I have covered a few World Cups and many international matches. That's true. But now we are talking in front of a person who is Dr. Ravi Chaturvedi, who is doing this job for the last 3, 4 decades, or maybe 5 decades, 6 decades. So I think he's the most experienced person. I will try to get back to him. But before that, I would definitely like to say that, if language commentaries were not initiated in 60s, what would have happened? This subcontinent, there are so many languages spoken, so many people living in the subcontinent, so many languages spoken. If the language commentary was not initiated and not made popular or was not successful, then I think most of the people living in this subcontinent would have no interest in cricket or the game. So I would like to thank and give credit to our seniors, the veterans who initiated this Bangla commentary or Hindi commentary or Punjabi commentary or whatever you say, Urdu commentary. And for their endeavor, I think this has now reached the villages. This has now gone to the extreme end of each and every country. And that is why it is so popular. If you talk about Bangla commentary, there are 17 crore people in Bangladesh and 10 more crore people living in West Bengal. The total is 27 crore, maybe another 2-3 crore living in Tripura and Assam states. So it's about 30 crore people. And they all talk in Bangla and they all enjoy listening to Bangla commentary. So it's so important that we have by now established Bangla commentary and it's popular now. But I would like to say a few things that although English commentary, Hindi commentary, and the regional commentaries in India have become more popular. But in Bangladesh, Bangla commentary is facing some sort of struggles, some more challenges, as Shamsul knows better. Still, we have some issues. We don't get Bangla commentary in television. There is no window for doing a Bangla commentary in television. So that is a weak part. That is a poor part. I think we have to repair it. It should be looked after. And I would like to thank the new private radio stations that have come up in Bangladesh now. There are 6, 7, 8 radio stations who are now prioritizing or focusing on on broadcasting Bangla commentary. In the last World Cup, I think there were 7-8 Bangla radio stations who were simultaneously broadcasting all the World Cup matches in radios. So that is a great achievement, I would say, and that has encouraged the new commentators also. A lot of new commentators have come in, and they are getting an exposure. And I think this is also important, because if you do not start early, you do not accomplish much. That is also a point, I think. So I would like to thank the radio stations. But there are a lot of, I would say, challenges and a lot of shortcomings in the Bangla commentary boxes. Particularly if you consider the Bangla commentary box of Bangladesh. If you look at India, the Akashbani commentary box or the Bangla commentary box in Calcutta is somehow rich, because the retiring cricketers from the West Bengal cricket team are joining Bangla commentary. Let us talk about Raju Mukherjee, then Shorodhendu Mukherjee, then Ashok Dinda. They all were playing for West Bengal team and Bengal team, and when retired, they didn't join the English commentary team. They enriched the Bangla commentary, and the Bangla commentary has, a kind of earned a weight in the commentary box. But in Bangladesh, we're still struggling. The players retiring are not joining in the commentary box here. So it's a challenge for us, I think. And the commentary boxes, radio boxes particularly, I'd say, are still not having the kind of facilities that the TV commentary boxes have. They have got the scorers, they have got the statisticians, they have got a lot of support from behind, and that's why their performance or their commentary is so rich. They are instantly giving so many informations to the listeners. But still in radio, like Dr. Ravi said, that in the initial stages, we also, Shamsul knows very well, that we used to go to the hotels where the cricketers were staying to get their names, who are batsmen, who are all-rounders, who are seam bowlers, who are spinners, what are their achievements in the domestic cricket. We used to record all those kind of things and come back with the diary and do the commentary in the next morning in the radio. So that was a day. But now still, those kind of things we don't have to do. But still there are many challenges. I think these things should be eased with the passage of time, one thing, and that should be looked after. And then comparing the honorarium, I think I should not discuss this thing in this platform. There is a lot of parity or disparity, whatever. So that is an important point also. Maybe for that reason also the cricketers retiring from the game are not coming to Bangla commentary box. Maybe that can be an issue. So those are the issues I think that should be looked after. I will now go to Dr. Ravi again with a question that recently we are seeing in the past when we started, or it was customary that the commentary box will be in the ground and the commentators will do commentary from the ground. But now they are making studios and doing commentary from the studios. Like even the radio commentary we are doing by looking at the TV screen. Now there are some limitations, I think. If you are asked to do a commentary by looking at the TV screen, you can comment only on the things that are focused on the screen. There are many things that are happening behind the screen or beyond the screen. So what do you say about those things? My question is whether Dr. Ravi is supporting this studio commentary, or he still wants that the commentary box should be in the ground and the commentator should be talking from the ground.
Alfazuddin, thank you for raising your question. He must address it, but I'm giving another clue to Dr. Ravi Chaturvedi Sirji. You have passed 60 years of a successful career in the commentary box. Suppose you are starting with, मैं रवि चतुर्वेदी आपका सबका स्वागत कर रहा हूँ पीरज शकोटला स्टेडियम से. Such type of starting, and it becomes a very common sentences to the audiences of subcontinent. Here from Bangladesh, a lot of listeners regularly listen AIR Hindi commentary, and I can recall I listened several times Mr. Ravi Chaturvedi as a Hindi commentator. So 60 years of successful career. Please tell us about the glimpse of your career, to whom you have met the legendary cricketers, legendary commentators, a lot of memories also there, but just give us a glimpse of your commentary career.
There, मैं रवि चतुर्वेदी फिरोज शाह कोटला से नई दिल्ली से बोल रहा हूँ. That would be a starting point. Okay, very nice question. And Alfaz has posed a very pertinent question. Yes. If I may put it as in a slightly different way, I mean, Alfaz Bhai, you will agree with me that we had to work hard to earn the respect that perhaps we are enjoying today. It didn't come very easily, which English commentators enjoyed. The other thing that I want to tell you is that there are certain things which are not happening in today in the television commentaries. I'm not trying to criticize the test players. Imagine there's a comprehensive picture of a cricket match. Just one very simple example I'll give you. If I am broadcasting from Firoz Shah Kotla, and during the time then when the play is not on the ground, if I can talk about the background of Firoz Shah Kotla, this was a place which belonged to the Tughlaq dynasty. And one of the emperors, Firoz Shah, played a minor game which was known as Chaugan. And since that was adjoining place where he played Chaugan, so when cricket came here, this ground came to be known as Firoz Shah Kotla. Now this homework, today test cricketers will not do. And statisticians also don't bother to tell about. Language commentary has certain nuances. Our language, whether it is a Bangla, whether it's Urdu or it's Hindi, or we have nuances.
What about the language?
Yeah, that's what I'm coming to. There are very subtle nuances that we have in our language, and that's where we get into the heart of the people. We touch the soul of the people. You see, when a batsman plays a stroke, the shoulders should be pointing towards the stroke. But if the ball doesn't go to if my shoulder is pointing toward the cover, the ball must go to the cover. Suppose it doesn't go to the cover, it goes to the point or it goes to the slips. I will say, kahin pe nigahein, kahin pe nishana. Now this will send everybody into peals of laughter. Now these such nuances are lacking in today's commentary. Alfaz Bhai very rightly said that homework that we had to do, our shoes, they got worn out because we had to run from ground to the hotel to this place and that place to get an update because there was nobody to help us. We have to get it all. And we tried our best that we should get the best available information which could be passed on to our listeners. That was very challenging. The other thing is, if you ask me, now let me tell you something which has been only marginally touched by my friends here. The first commentary in 1960, there was a big machan upstairs on which the English commentary was going on, and the celebrity commentators, Pearson Surita was there, who was my idol too. Then Maharaj Kumar Vizianagaram was there, Berry Sabadhikari was there, they were English commentators. And the expert was Vijay Merchant. Hindi commentary was a box below. There was a wooden box on which outside, in English, AIR, and Hindi, Akashwani. Only two people could sit inside. That is one commentator and the scorer. I had to stand outside or my fellow commentators to stand outside. So these were the difficult days. All that we used to get is a cup of tea. We used to carry our own parathas rolled into with some vegetable to the ground. Nothing, everything is today available free right from morning till evening. So those were also challenges. And I think very indirect reference which Alfaz Bhai made to the monetary gains. 5.5 ghanta, 5.5 hours, you took work out of us by paying 50 rupees only. And today you are giving money. I told the minister also, today you give them $400 a day. So we faced it music, but we enjoyed it. I mean, I have no regrets today. Things have changed. I'll tell you another point. A lot of my friends, I'm sure you also could be one of them, they try to, criticize the present day commentator. I said, "Oh, आप लोग बोलते थे बहुत मजा आता था, ये अभी नहीं आता है." Then I tell them one thing. I tell them, look, every generation has a responsibility. We as pioneers had a responsibility to see that this language commentary is accepted. There is a credibility it provides credibility, and then the masses accept it. That was our role. We have done our role. Now it is for those who have come into the picture now, let them take it forward. Every generation has a different role. People who fought for independence, they had a role. People had to build up the country, that was the secondary role. So we have played our role. I'm happy about it. I have no right to comment on a fellow commentator.
Tell us some glimpse of your commentary career. 60 years of the journey. You met so many legends. Poli Umbrigar and few more legends.
I have two questions to Dr. Ravi.
Please, forward. Go forward.
The first question is, there is commercialization of commentary now. They say without commercialization, without making some money, paying for the honorariums and other expenses of the commentators and everything is not viable. Everything is being calculated commercially. So too much or excessive of commercialization is spoiling the quality of the commentary. Please comment on this thing. And the second thing is Mr. Ravi Chaturvedi has toured the whole world, I would say. And he has, I think, the opportunity of talking or speaking from almost all the stadiums of the world. To his consideration, which of the stadium is the best in the world and which is the biggest? And there is another question also, third question. There was a stadium in Motera in Ahmedabad. I had the opportunity to go there for doing commentary in 2011 World Cup. That has been destroyed, and now they have established the biggest stadium of the world there. Mr. Trump has opened it. They say it has got a capacity of 110,000 people. So if Mr. Ravi has visited this stadium, please tell us something about it, its facility and all other things.
You see, I'm very lucky in the sense cricket has taught me a lot of things. I've learned a lot of things from cricket. Just on a lighter note, I would say that one of the things that I learned from cricket was I'm very careful about my personal hygiene. In the morning, first thing when I take my bath is to clean the area behind my ears. I'm sure you like to know why. Well, you must be very inquisitive why I do it. Because I have read that the wicket keepers always complain that Dr. W.G. Grace, the first superstar of cricket, they found that the area behind the ear of Dr. W.G. Grace was very dirty. So that I learned from cricket. So I'm very careful that I clean my area behind the ear. That's a little on the lighter side. Anyway, you see, I'm sure my friend Shamim and Alfaz Bhai agree with me. Cricket is not a game. It's a culture. We have learned a lot of things. And coming from Bangladesh, I have a lot of love for Bangla language. I have a lot of love for the Bengali culture. And so therefore, I see we have also learned another part of the culture, which is part of the cricket. So that is another additional thing that we have got from cricket. Coming back to the commercialization, yes, Alfaz Bhai will forgive me if I tell you something frankly. The first match which I did and where the commercials were in between at the end of the over and the producer will be shouting, it was so very irritating. As a commentator, my friends here, two of you, Shamim and Alfaz, will agree with me that those are the most precious moments, because maybe on the last ball, there was a very touch and go affair where the bowler appeals and umpire negatives the appeal. That reaction of the bowler, reaction of the batsman is very important for the viewers. But that is where the commercial comes. From fifth ball, Shamim Bhai and Alfaz Bhai will agree with me. From fifth ball onwards, the producers start shouting, last ball coming, last ball coming. And you have to you are looking at the ground, you have to find out what you have to say. He is shouting because he is worried about money. He is not worried about cricket. So this commercialization is taking the the human angle out of it, the part which is very interesting is going out of it. That is number one. Now coming back to this commercialization, the other part, the studio commentary. I also joined about a few years back the All India Radio for a studio commentary. I told them straight away. I said, thank you very much. I don't think I'll be able to do it. So they were good enough to offer me analyzer's role. What do you get? And two of my friends here, Shamim Bhai and Alfaz Bhai, will bear me out. When we were on the ground, we'll go an hour and a half early. We'll walk around. We see the toss. We'll talk to the captain. We'll talk to the players. We'll talk to the umpire. We talk to the groundsman. There's an atmosphere. There's an information which is to be gathered. And that information, whatever we imbibe, we then put it in words and pass it on to the listener. By sitting in the studio, you don't get a feeling of the ground. You do not get what has already happened. The drama started when the roller was on. If I could have a look at the pitch, I can talk to a lot of things. If I talk to the groundsman, I can talk to him how many days he has taken to prepare the wicket. What were his experiences of preparing wickets? Talk to the umpires, talk to the captain. All this is missing. So once again, that angle, that human angle is missing. Only you are passing on the information. Coming back to the main question of Alfaz Bhai. Well, if you ask me, the most enchanting place where I have commented, of course, I like West Indies. Trinidad is my second home. Eden Gardens, Calcutta, the atmosphere. When you get into the ground, the Rabindra Sangeet, then the crowd, they have their own ways of, they are so much part of the game. This is where I come, which comes very near to the West Indian crowd also. They enjoy every moment. And I tell you the respect that they have for the commentators, which I don't find in Delhi or North India. I'll give you an example. Before the 87 World Cup, the commentary box stand was demolished because they had to renovate it. So we were given a commentary box which was on the left side, where the viewers gallery was in front of us. So moment there was something very exciting, the viewers will get up and so we won't watch. So Abbas Ali Beg and Bishan Bedi were my co-commentators. So the producer asked Bishan Bedi that please tell this people who are sitting in front of us not to get up. So Bishan said, I can't do it. Pandit Ravi Chaturvedi is a professor. He can talk to them like a student. So that is where I use my Bangla. I folded my hand and told them, Khama korun, please. কৃপা করে আমি দেখতে পারবি না তো কেমন আবার কমেন্ট্রি করব and then I became hero. Every time they will look back at me, Ravi dada ki holo? So I will look back. If it was a close, I'll say like this, and if it was like this, I will do like this. So I built up a rapport with them, and they became good friends of mine. They'll bring every day in the morning. They'll bring something good eatable for me as a present. So all those things. How can you build up all these things? And these are the most precious moments. I'm sure Shamim Bhai and Alfaz Bhai would cherish throughout our lives, rather than doing commentary from the box. Now coming back to the players, I'll tell you. 2019, I'm a cricket crazy fellow. I spent nearly 2 lakhs of rupees. Trinidad is my second home. So every year when I'm in Connecticut, my son is settled in Connecticut. So I spend my own money to go to Trinidad, where of course I'm part of a family, so I stay free. But one radio station utilizes my services as an expert. And I enjoy it. I speak, that's the English commentary I do there. Now, 2 great players with whom I have personal relationship and friendship, they are on my WhatsApp, are Sir Veswal and Sir Gary Sobers. This time I wanted to meet Sir Everton Weeks also. And thanks to our ambassador in Suriname, Mr. Tanyal, he arranged, because I couldn't afford to spend more than 3 days in a hotel. So he arranged. Sir Everton Weeks had an heart attack, June. This was 15th of August. He agreed to meet me, and I spent 45 minutes with him, and he went back into 48 and 53. There was no hang up, like a very ordinary man he met me. Next day, I had an lunch appointment with Sir Gary Sobers. And when I told him that you are the best ever all-round cricketer the world has ever seen, he said, thank you very much. Nobody has ever told me like this, and he hosted a lunch for me. Wes Hall is a very personal friend of mine from 58 when he came to India for the first time. Even when I go there, he always will ask about my daughter, about my son. So this time, when I told him I'm coming, he fixed up a dinner for me. Fortunately, because first day was very busy. 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, Tony Kozer's son was coming to meet him, whom I was supposed to present my commentary book. Then I was to meet Everton Weeks at 4 o'clock. So I forgot to ring Wes Hall. At night, he called me up. He said, where are you? I'm waiting for you. Tomorrow, he speaks very fast. And tomorrow I fixed up a dinner for you. I said, okay, I'll come. Wait. Then he said, you are my 60-year-old friend, and you are not coming to my house. How is it? Of course, we'll go for dinner, but you have to come to my house. Actually, I had an appointment with the hotel manager who was hosting a cocktail for me. I had to beg a pardon with the manager to go to Wes Hall. I imagine I'm a small fry in cricket. Such great people gave me that honor. I mean, it touched my heart that I'll tell you. The West Indians are very natural people. They're very, you can talk to a prime minister. You'll never appear as if you're talking to a prime minister. He will suddenly put your hand on your shoulder and he'll say, come on, Ravi, let's have a drink. It doesn't happen in this subcontinent. I wish this thing also comes. And amongst the Indian cricketers, of course, I have a lot of links with others like Kalicharan and other players also. In this part of the world, I mean, I have a close relationship with Sunil Gavaskar. But I'll say one man, Sachin Tendulkar, is a gem of a man. He's not a great cricketer. He's a gentleman. In 2002, when I was doing a commentary, in between I was away. I was also in wildlife, so I was a little away from cricket for a while. So when I met him in Barbados, he walked up to me in an Indian embassy reception because India won that day, so our commission was hosting a reception. And he said, sir, we haven't seen you in cricket for a few years. I was stunned by how many cricketers will go to a commentator to ask you that we have not seen you. So we are also very lucky that our cricket playing fraternity also sometimes gives us some recognition. Lastly, as an elderly man, I thought I must do something for the posterity. It took me 3 years to collect information from all over the world. And I was very particular about the language commentary. And Alfaz Bhai also said about it. The test cricketers in India are also coming back into the regional languages. That is a very good thing. Last World Cup, lot of regional languages, Kannada, Tamil, of course, Bangla was also there. All these test cricketers and Ranji cricketers, they are coming back into cricket commentary. So this will also give a lot of importance to the language commentaries also. And I wish that the spread of this through this medium of language commentary will be able to reach larger section of the population of this subcontinent.
Thank you so much, sir. What a fantastic memory recalling and narrations regarding all these questions. We are almost at the end of our today's show. This is only the beginning, I would say. Mr. Dr. Ravi Chaturvedi, Sirji, you must join some other episode in the coming days. But now I want to go to Mr. Shamim Ashraf Chowdhury. These days, the modern day television commentators are doing commentary with dual, triple, even 4 people at times together, and also doing the presentation, party, toss, and 2 more things likely. And once they're also doing the analysis in between breaks. So being a single man, doing all these 3 types of different jobs in the modern day commentary, how you feel, how you people are managing all sorts of activities.
Well, first of all, you've got to have confidence in yourself, knowing that you can just, in addition to doing commentary, to be looking at the camera and not make your legs shiver, and try to be brave and put up a face in front of the camera. So this is just another point Ravi Bhai was saying about WG Grace not having having dirt behind his ears. This is another thing that a television commentator has to be very careful about, is his appearance. You want to look good in front of a camera. Even a dark guy like me needs to be looking smart and tipped up with a fit fat, as we say in Bangla.
What about me? You are much younger. What about me? You are much younger.
My complexion, it's like, proper Bangali, Kalo Bangali.
West Indian.
Maybe like
West Indian shirt.
West Indian.
This is given by Kazal to me. This is a West Indian shirt given by Kazal to me.
So, dear audience, can you understand? These three gentlemen are doing some
now, just
noise
going back,
and doing some fun, really.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. You've got to have a sense of humor. That is an essential ingredient of commentary. Sometimes when the game gets a little boring, you might try to find something to talk about, the game itself, the player, or little incident that has happened that'll make you and your partner, it's an interchange. It's a banter between two commentators. And also, you have to prepare yourself, like I do. I'm very fortunate that I do most of the presentations ceremonies. So I can't do the final few overs of any match. I'm sort of getting ready, getting in the lift. And sometimes the wickets start falling and the producer is telling you, run, because they're getting out and the game is going to be over. So you've got to run from the fourth, fifth floor, go down by lift. Sometimes the lift takes a long time. You're running down the stairs, running through the ground, and then finding your place to be there. And then you go there, and then the last wicket does not fall. And you just wait.
So you have some break time, eh? You can some rest and reorganize yourself.
Just one point, going back to the commentary from the studios. We've talked about a lot of things that can, you're not being able to describe because you're not seeing the rest of the ground. What happens when the line goes off? What do you do? Technical problem. Suddenly, you're watching a picture and it's a blank. So what do you do at that time? You don't have the support of being at the ground. So that is the advantage of being in the ground. I mean, technical problems will always come. And these are the things that I think they should take into cognizance and try to ensure that even if you're doing commentary from a studio, you have enough support and enough backup to ensure that proper picture and a continuity of commentary is given. Otherwise, if there's a break of commentary for no reason, it's very embarrassing to tell the listeners that, I'm sorry, we don't have pictures. You have to pretend you're still watching it. You have to make things up. So, these are things, the little things that happen all the time. Can I just take one more minute, Shamsul, if you allow me?
Sure.
Just
carry on.
Talking about Sir Garfield Sobers, I had the good fortune when I was in England to watch him play. And this was when the South African tour to England was postponed because of Philip, I think it was Basil D'Oliveira was not allowed to tour with the English team because he was half black. And the South Africans at that time had apartheid. And they did not allow the England team to go there. And the South Africans were not allowed to come and tour England. And that's when they had this World 11 versus England 11 test series of unofficial 5 test matches. I don't think they had started one-day internationals even those days. So there was Sir Gary Sobers and Elder Pollock, Peter Pollock and his brother. They were playing in the same team, the World 11. And I remember Intikhab Alam was playing for the World 11. And that's when I saw the mastery of Sir Gary Sobers. He was such a great player. Obviously, as you said, he's the best all-rounder. And I had the good fortune to meet him again in Dhaka when he came for the inaugural test match, Bangladesh versus India. Inaugural test match. He was the test commentator in Dhaka during that time. Little incident, another little bit of humor. It was November, I think, we had the match when Bangladesh gets to be cold, but not very cold. You know, we are all wearing coats and stuff like that. But Chowdhury was wearing an overcoat. The two of us went to the middle of the ground to see the pitch, and he was saying, "Oh my goodness, I thought Bangladesh was a warm country like the West Indian islands, but here I'm freezing, and that is what I remember." He was wearing a suit and then an overcoat, and he was really shivering as we came out of the ground. So these are wonderful memories.
Shamim, I think it was 1999 when the mini World Cup was hosted by Dhaka. He came in that tournament, okay. I think.
1998, actually.
Yeah.
1998 here in Dhaka.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for correcting.
I will take 1 minute before you close, Shamsul.
Shamim bhai, have you closed your speech? It is finished from you.
Yeah. I think I'm done. I think we are very honored to hear Ravi bhai give us all his experience. We don't need to talk much. We just want to listen.
Okay. Absolutely. Last minute for you. And then I will back you, Ravi sir. Please wait. Last minute for you.
2 minutes. Okay. 2 minutes. First of all, one thing I would like to say is
concentrate on your work, Alfa.
Yeah, my phone. The first thing I would like to say is Ravi bhai has toured the whole world, at least the cricketing world. But the nearest neighbor is Bangladesh, and he has not visited Bangladesh. So that is the complaint from my side, and I keep a invitation open to him. He should make a plan to visit our country as soon as possible. That is one thing. The second thing is for Shamsul and Shamim also to understand, Ravi bhai is not only a commentator, he is also a very good writer. I mean, he has written 15 books on cricket in English only. And
no, 27, not 50, 27.
Yeah, 27 books. So he is a writer. So that chapter is still not opened. And he's also a journalist. He writes regularly in English for a paper in Caribbean. So I know all these things, but we could not discuss all these things and listen from him about his experiences about these things. So I think Shamsul will arrange something in future, in near future soon, and we'll have another opportunity to listen to him for all these things. Thank you very much, Ravi bhai, for giving us some time, and we are very honored. I feel very proud even by sharing my photo beside you in this small screen. But it's a golden day for me, I would say. And my respect and everything from my side. Please keep in your mind, Bangladesh is a small, but very little country, but there is a lot of heart in it, and a lot of people love you, a lot of commentators love you, a lot of commentators want to see you, and a lot of commentators have respect for you. Please visit us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alfaz bhai. I must say something and giving you the floor, sir. What I am saying, this is a three gentlemen coming together to join a particular show regarding art of cricket commentary. But I have a plan in the near future to bring our Dr. Ravi Chaturvedi sir with an exclusive solo interview to explore all of his areas to know our audiences and the cricket lovers. So last few words from Dr. Ravi Chaturvedi sir. Floor is up to you.
Well, if you ask me, I think I'm a man who has failed miserably in all fronts. I don't think that I'm very successful even as a commentator. So with my shortcomings, with my failings, yes, I know the self, and I have done my self-analysis, I know. So it's very kind of you to say all those words which I don't deserve. Because when I got Padma Shri, the media was all over my place. And they asked me, oh, you must be on top of Himalayas, blah, blah, blah. All those good words in English, they picked up the choices of the words which they were showering on us. I kept on listening to them, and when they stopped, I said, yes, the honor is not on me. The honor is on the great game which I broadcast. That's cricket. I said, the honor is not on me. It's on the great language, the national language Hindi, through which I broadcast. So therefore, cricket and Hindi, they are before me. I'm at the back. So the recognition goes to cricket and to Hindi and then to me. So that's how we all take our things in a stride. Finally, coming back to Bangladesh, I was really very keen to come to Bangladesh because over the years I have built up a very personal relationship through email and through my correspondence with Alfaz Bhai, who was very helpful to me in the writing of the commentary book. And the other thing was, because of my little exposure to Bangla language, that was another important component of my visit coming to Bangladesh. I was also very much touched by the factor that I am going to participate in the centenary match of the greatest statesman of this subcontinent, late Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. And if you ask me, I was heartbroken when Corona broke out and the matches were cancelled. I was eagerly looking forward to come to Bangladesh for meeting our old friends. I have built up a very cordial relationship with I have a cord, which is very direct with Alfaz Bhai. And then finally, I have specialized in fisheries. That was my specialization in zoology at one time. And I love Ilish. I love fish. I'm very fond of fish. And of course, I would enjoyed the famous, all the sweets of Bangladesh, especially the Sandesh. So I am the loser that I have not been able to meet my community, my friends and fraternity in Bangladesh, and also lost a great opportunity to have my culinary satisfaction of those which I cherish.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining with us. Shamim bhai, last few words. Anything else?
It's just simply, it's been an honor to have been in a program together with great and such a humble ability. But this is where we can learn from great persons like Dr. Ravi Chaturvedi, is how humble, and despite reaching the pinnacle, he's pretending to be an ordinary person. Sir, you are not. You're a fantastic person. You're a fabulous person. You're a pathfinder for all commentators to follow. You can learn the things that you practice in life. I think they'll go a long way. Again, very much, and thank you, Shamsul, for having me here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Alfaz bhai, last 30 seconds for you to praise our Ravi Chaturvedi.
I'd once again like to thank Ravi Bhai. We have been in touch for a very long time, and we were planning his visit to Dhaka, but it all failed because suddenly this pandemic broke out. But we hope that soon after the normal situation comes back, we'll have Mr. Ravi Chaturvedi among us. This is a great honor for us, great personality. We have missed him. We are very happy that we got him. And we are not going to miss him in the future. We don't want to lose him in the future. So everything will be okay. Listeners and viewers, those who were with us for this long time, I would rather feel that you have been offered with a very interesting discussion by Dr. Ravi Chaturvedi, and in future also we'll have him for discussion again. Thank you very much, Shamsul, for thinking and arranging this kind of a meeting, this kind of a show. Thank you once again, and respect for Ravi Bhai.
Thank you, everybody. I would say these three gentlemen are really a great ambassador of the game of cricket. Over the years, they are representing their country in the world cricketing family. And also, Mr. Shamim Ashraf Chowdhury, the voice of Bangladesh, Mr. Alfazuddin Ahmed, doing the same job in Bangla for the Bengali community people for the 40 years. And of course, our today's guest from India, Dr. Ravi Chaturvedi, the Padma Shri awardee. He has given his service for the last 60 years or so. What a wonderful station for me I'm really privileged to present this show to our beloved audiences, lovers and cricket loving people here in Bangladesh and also in the rest of the world. I'm looking forward. I'm pretty sure Dr. Ravi Chaturvedi sir will again join with to exploring
Yes,
his
sir.
unexploring areas like writing, traveling, and so many from him. And thank you once again, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.